Hello Neighbor was one of those games that had so much potential leading up to its release. The game had a great concept: break into some guy's house, solve some puzzles in there to get to the ultimate goal, the basement, all while avoiding the homeowner. The game got massive traction because of its public alpha builds, which were constantly publicized by YouTubers. I remember watching these videos and enjoying them back in 2017, though some of them may show their age now. The game is described as a stealth horror game, but you can definitely tell that it is marketed towards a younger demographic with its cartoony visuals and very neutered horror elements. There are 5 pre-release alphas. They all differed greatly from each other, with differing house layouts and endings. Eventually, this was silently explained by the full game release, having 3 acts and reutilizing these different houses for each act. Unfortunately, the full release was quite disappointing, and rightly criticized for being buggy and misleading. Many claim that the alpha versions of the game are better, plus you can get all of them for free. So for the first time I played the pre-alpha and alpha 2. Alpha 3 and 4 are more or less the same, and became Act 3 of the full game. So let's talk about the pre-alpha first. I had some trouble getting this one to work at first, but eventually the graphics settings showed up and the game opened. Humble beginnings indeed. This is a very buggy build. Like how there are closets to hide in, but the neighbor always finds you no matter what, among other things. Every time you open the game, there's a scripted event that introduces you to the mystery of the basement. It's night and you can see an orange glow from the house across the street. You cross the street, getting ever closer to that sweet glow. You go into the house with its doors wide open. You approach the door, but a middle-aged man grabs you before you can see what's in there. So begins your journey to open the basement. The door is now secured by a wooden plank, a keypad, and a lock. Seems simple? It is. You just have to find the things you need to open it with. But this version of the neighbor is probably the most aggressive he would ever be. He seems to see you with the eyes in the back of his head. When he's chasing you, he'll throw tomatoes and bear traps at you to try and slow you down. He can also place these bear traps in spots you frequent, and the best part about them is that there seems to be no escaping once trapped. The neighbor also seems to have no sense of property rights because he'll chase you up until your front yard.
Oh crap, wait, hold on, no. Stay your ground laws, stay your ground laws.
I nearly forgot to mention the most iconic part of this alpha, the chase music. It's tense and expressive, if only it was correctly mixed so it wouldn't be so much louder than everything else in the game. In future versions of the game, though, the music here was toned down quite a bit and would never really hit the sweet spot again. But getting into the basement is pretty easy since there aren't many convoluted puzzles like in future builds. There's a hammer in the furnace room and you use that to take the board off of the door. Next, the key is only about 10 feet away from the door, hiding next to the television. Finally, to get the code, you have to find an ultraviolet light to be able to see the code hiding behind a hanging photo. Or you could just look it up like I did because I could never find the UV light. Opening the door, you find nothing. Literally nothing. The neighbor catches you one last time, and the game crashes. Like I said earlier, very humble beginnings for the franchise, though the concept is very cemented here. Alpha 2, in my opinion, is the best of the Hello Neighbor franchise ever, if only it was more fleshed out, though there is more of a narrative focus in this version. Right off the bat, we have a nice cutscene where our character drives up to their new home. After getting inside, they fall asleep on the couch. While we're asleep, the neighbor moves the couch out of the house with us on it and renovates the house for himself. We wake up to hear screams coming from the house. It looks as though the neighbor shoves somebody into his basement. The door is secured with a keycard reader and a wooden board. Our journey begins. Closets make a return, and this time they work a little too well. The neighbor can literally watch you enter one and won't do a thing about it. Cameras are also a nuisance, especially because they can be set up inside of a wall without you being able to see it. I'm pretty sure there are also cameras underneath the safe house across the street, which has to be an invasion of privacy. But anyway, here's how I pulled it off. In the bathroom is a bottle of sleeping pills. I don't know why, but I remembered that from watching videos. He falls asleep and I make my move. There's a wrench in the fridge for some reason. We use that to get onto the roof. There are 2 rooms on the 2nd floor. One has the key card and the other has a magnet. We take the key card and use the magnet gun on this tiny window to grab this lockpick. Crap. I accidentally drop it in a spot that neither me or the magnet can reach, so I turn on ghost mode and grab it. Since I don't know how to turn off ghost mode, I stayed like this for the rest of the playthrough. Anyway, what you would do if you weren't in ghost mode is to use the lockpick on the door to the same room as we got it from to grab the crowbar. Now we have everything we need to open the basement door. We see a room full of lit candles before being met with a door leading to a maze of sorts. Since I was in ghost mode, I couldn't trigger it anyway, but I remember there should be a chase scene here where you would have to find your way through the maze before the neighbor catches up. The final door will cause you to be caught no matter what. This was kind of the turning point for Hello Neighbor's focus, in my opinion. It became less of a horror thriller and more of a lore thing, with people creating theories for what the neighbor is really doing with the basement and all that. I'm pretty sure that the developer of the game had no real plans of what the story really would turn out to be other than it was all a dream, which basically is the substance of this alpha and the actual ending to the full game. This alpha had everything you could ask for: tense gameplay, puzzles that aren't overly complex, and extra details that actually work pretty well. These alphas set Hello Neighbor up for success, and in the end it probably worked. The full game still had decent sales, and they have continued to milk the franchise ever since with the prequel Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek, which wasn't actually that bad, if not a little simplistic at times, a spin-off called Hello Engineer, which is essentially 3D Bad Piggies, and Hello Neighbor 2, which is a bad game that I'm glad is on Game Pass because you shouldn't buy it. Hello Neighbor 2 is actually a live service game where they'll release new updates to fix the game or add new content over time. Why you would do that with a single-player game is beyond me. There is also an animated web series based on the games, and I'm sure everyone knows how that's going. Well, that's another franchise that will probably die at the hands of its own creators. Like and subscribe.